Born on the 23rd of March, Asafa Powell had a reasonably large shoe to fill, with his brother being a former sprinter. His brother Donovan competed in the 60, 100, and 4x100 meters at both the World Championships and Olympic Games. By the time his older brother was looking to make a debut at the 2000 Olympic Games, Asafa was taking his shot at the Jamaican High School Championships. He was attending the Charlemont High School, not one of the most prominent in terms of winning championships. Therefore, not much pressure was on him to be spectacular at the championships. He entered both the 100 and 200 meters events. Set for action in the preliminaries, he was given Heat 5, where he faced hot favorite Steve Mullings and another top star Marvin Anderson. Powell finished third behind both of them in a time of 11.45 seconds, which was not fast enough to get him to the semi-finals. After the disappointment in the 100 meters, he lined up in the 200 meters. This time he finished fourth in a time of 23.07 seconds, which meant he failed to make it to the other round in this event as well. Putting those disappointments behind, Powell came back the following season, making a better account for himself by making the finals for both events at the high school championships. Then he went on the national junior championships. Following his runs at the 2001 edition of Champs, Powell caught the attention of Stephen Francis, who was on a journey to develop homegrown talents. He saw Powell's talent as ideal for such a plan, as he was not on top of the radar to be offered scholarships to overseas, given his personal best at the time was barely under 11 seconds. Joining the MVP track club in 2001, Powell began to show signs of improvement quite rapidly, as by the National Junior Championships that same year, he outclassed his competitors to become National Junior Champion in the 100 meters with a brand new personal best of 10.5 seconds. The rapid improvements in this year never got him to a high level of stardom quite yet, but it served as a massive piece of motivation for himself and his coach. While not being a junior star, like a Tess Filati, Michael Frater or Jermaine Gonzalez might have seemed unfortunate for a young Powell, it turned out to be quite a blessing in disguise. This is because the basis of Francis's philosophy was from legendary coach Bud Winter. This meant that the philosophy that was responsible for creating some of the most lethal sprinters of all time, like a Tommy Smith, Dennis Johnson, among others, would be in play to develop Asafa Powell. He made it to the final in his first national senior trials, in which he finished fourth, a major accomplishment given he never ran faster than 10.32 prior to that championships. He did finish that season with a new personal best of 10.12. That, along with making the semi-final of the Commonwealth Games, were really the highlight of that season. At the prime age of 20 years, Asafa Powell started to make great strides in his career. He opened his outdoor season with his first ever sub-10 clocking of 9.9 seconds in Spanish Town, Jamaica. This was a massive drop given his best coming out of last year was a mere 10.12 seconds. He, however, proved this time was no fluke, going on to win the national championships a couple of months later, claiming his spot as the #1 sprinter on the island. The win meant that Powell was now off to his first ever World Championships to face the best the world had to offer. The likes of Maurice Green, Ado Bolden, Tim Montgomery, and John Drummond were around at the time, which made the task a little bit heavier for Powell. However, the young Jamaican, who lined up with Kim Collins in his preliminary heat, ran away with the victory, announcing himself as one to take seriously at the championships. His winning time of 10.09 seconds was by far the fastest of all the 10 heats, which certainly showed he might have been on the brink of something special. His quarter-final was set to be challenging, as he had to face Australian national record holder Patrick Johnson, Ado Bolden, and an insatiable John Drummond, who was renowned as the world's fastest starter. Unfortunately, Drummond and Powell were both disqualified, as both men were deemed to have false started. This moment still remains one of the most controversial moments in sprinting, as it regards to the new false start rule even today. With Powell out of the way, Kim Collins, who was defeated by Powell in the preliminaries, took the gold and became world champion. This moment might have caused another great spark to grow in the still developing Asafa, because now he could see himself as the man who defeated the man on top of the podium, therefore he too can be the best in the world.
0-7. And Brown was up there. We've got an 18-year-old.
Who would have thought that a false start disqualification could have changed the course of Jamaican male sprinting? As by 2004, not a full year following Asafa's disappointing exit at the World Championships, he would have the world of athletics in a frenzy when he demolished Raymond Stewart's 8-year-old national record of 9.96, with his 9.91 clocking at the National Championships final. He was an absolute monster that season on the international circuit, clocking 9 sub-10s in the single season, way ahead of SHAWN Crawford, who had the second highest amount that year with 6, and Justin Gatlin with 5. Similar to his first World Championships, his first Olympic Games was a disappointment because after coming in as one of the hot favorites and keeping his momentum through the rounds, he finished 5th in the 100 meters finals, which was won by American Justin Gatlin. This loss pushed the Jamaican to run a beauty of a race in Brussels, Belgium 2 weeks after, clocking a sizzling 9.87 seconds to sweep aside a field of elite competitors. This run meant Jamaica had a brand new national record and a readjusted position on the sprinting hierarchy. He not only readjusted the country's position but his position, as by 2005 he would have the world in complete awe once again. Returning to the stadium, he had bad memories of losing at the Olympic Games a year prior. He had quite a strong field to fend. On the 14th of June 2005, Asafa Powell, at the age of 22, ran himself into the history books by cracking Tim Montgomery's world record of 9.78 seconds and placing himself as the world's fastest man.
Record du monde pour Asafa Powell, record du monde égalé. 9,78, on va attendre la correction du chrono, Stéphane. On va attendre la correction du chrono. Si le chrono est abaissé d'un centième, il sera seul détenteur du record du monde, Powell.
This day was the crowning moment in Powell's career, as after consistent sub-10s and 3 consecutive sub-9.8 that same season, he truly showed what he was truly capable of, and now the world was focused on the brand new king of sprinting. Having broken the world record, Powell set his sights on what was left from his fast-growing legacy, and that was a major individual title. And in 2006, there were no Olympic nor World Championships, only the Commonwealth Games. Though his last time was disappointing, this time he was set on going all the way, and given the fact he was world record holder, it felt impossible for his opponents to stop him. That was exactly the case, as he strolled through the heats, quarter-finals and semi-finals to line up against his fellow finalists. They too were unable to stop him, as he won quite comfortably in 10.03 seconds ahead of Fasuba, who ran 10.11 seconds. This win truly helped to insert much-needed faith in Powell's career, and the long journey of winning a major individual title ended there, as he walked away champion of the Commonwealth, joining previous legends of the sport.
To dominate world sprinting, he is the quickest man in the world, and today he's learned how to win at championships.
Asafa and the MVP track club's influence grew drastically around the island, and all of a sudden there were now a lot of believers in the local-based programs. This caused the likes of Usain Bolt and others who were now on the path of transitioning to maintain a high level of confidence and trust in their coaches. A couple of years prior, athletes would hardly even consider remaining in the country after high school, but now were believing they could be on top even if they remained in the island. This was a massive improvement, and while Powell's performances might have not been the only reason, it was certainly a major factor in play for this revolution, which helped to change the world of sprinting forever. While other talents were on the rise, most notably Usain Bolt, Powell continued to dominate the pro circuit. And on the 9th of September, he lowered his world record to an unbelievable 9.74 seconds in the Italian city of Rieti. This came after equaling the previous world record on multiple occasions the previous year, which meant that this was not as surprising for the fans, but still a monumental moment. He clocked an inhuman top speed of 12.04 meters per second en route to victory, cementing the fact he was a freak of nature on the track.
Asafa Powell. And what a result, what a performance. Now that is a world record. The wind is legal, and that's extraordinary.
The world record made up for the disappointing bronze medal at the 2007 World Championships in one of his worst races of his career. He was unlike himself, over-pushing from the start, making a mistake someone as experienced as he was should not have made. Nevertheless, he brushed that off with his world record and World Athletics final win to wrap one of his fastest seasons, in which he recorded 8 sub-10 clockings. The time on top of the moment ended in 2008 when he lost his world record, but he continued to push on and eventually created a legacy as the sub-10 king. Having run the 100 meters dash under 10 seconds 97 times and also holding the most lethal sprinters in history. He played a vital role in multiple world championships and Olympic winning 4x1 relay teams on what could be considered Jamaican dream teams. On top of that, he has one of the fastest 100 meters on fly with his anchor leg of 8.68 seconds and the 100-yard dash world best of 9.09 seconds.